He was one of the best players in the early 2000s, three-time All-NBA guard. Now he's joined the dark side. He's come over to the media.
That's
has
right.
A very popular podcast.
As they all do.
Underdog.
As they all do.
We are glad to welcome in Gilbert Arenas. And Gilbert, hey, I got to say this, man. When Rob found out you were coming on the show, he texted me like, what? He like, doesn't he hate us?
That's
like,
what I
he's
thought.
Coming on. So...
come on, you know I don't hate nobody.
No, I'm just, you know me, I'm just playing. I'm just playing, right. I'm just playing.
How you doing, man? How we said you have come to the dark side and joined the media world with your popular Underdog podcast. How you enjoying this media thing?
You know, I'm actually loving it. I'm not even gonna lie. It gives me more respect to you guys' craft. You know, when as an athlete, you know, we really hate takes that we think is unfair.
Right.
When in reality, you're just making us accountable for our talent and the things we say publicly, and we don't want to hear that.
Right.
So you know, so
yep. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this question about pushback from, because here's my issue I have, Gilbert, is at one point it was you guys never made the NBA. You guys can't critique basketball because you never played.
Athletes talk about us.
Right. That's what they say. You never made the league. Okay. But then they don't want to hear from Charles Barkley or from Shaq or from Kenny either. So which one is it? Do you see what I'm saying? Like now you're saying you just don't want to be criticized because they were stars in the league and you don't want to hear their criticism.
Exactly. Right? We do not want as a player we're so protected from middle school, high school, college. No one's ever critiqued us. So we're going 19 years, 20 years, or in our sport, 10 years solid without really anyone telling us anything bad about our actual game. So when we get into the NBA and people are really writing things bad, for the most part, 90% of it is true. It's true. We just never want to. We just don't want to see this shit on print, and you know we get in our feelings. NBA players and athletes, they're arguably the most sensitive. Even though we're the strongest, you know, mentally we're still the weakest mentally because we've been protected emotionally. So when we start seeing stuff, we're trying to put in these barriers. Well, you know, with you guys, y'all never played. With Shaq, y'all are so outdated. Y'all don't know the game no more.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How challenging, or if at all, is it for you to, you know, be honest about these guys? You know, and I mean, I'm sure you still got friends in the league and things like that. How is that tough for you, or you just easily just speak your mind and not worry about what guys might say?
See, because I had a blog and the way I'm on Instagram, because I'm fair, and that's the one thing that the athlete is looking for. How fair are you? So someone like not Stephen A. Smith, but oh my God, like Shannon Sharp and
Skip.
Oh, damn. Yeah, so someone like Skip, no one's going to respect him in a sense because you're not even trying to be fair to LeBron. You have already chosen that you're not going to like him no matter what he does. How can we trust your take at that point, right? Unless Skip said, listen, LeBron is great. He's done great, you know, for the last couple of years. Yes, I poorly have judged him only because I'm a Jordan fan. I don't want him to be in front of Jordan, but I'm not going to take away from his greatness. Now everybody will respect it. Right? But the fact that, you know, everything is about how bad he's playing kind of like makes it like you're not fair. So as long as you try to stay in the middle. So some days I kill LeBron. Some days I'll cheer him up. Right? You know, if he does something I don't like.
You're going based on his game. Right.
Yeah, so it's one of those things is when the players don't think it's a personal thing, when they don't think it's personal, like even with the Reeves and Westbrook, right? I was killing Reeves because he's in front of Westbrook. Soon as Westbrook leaves, hey, Reeves is nice.
Right.
Reeves is nice. I like Reeves.
Let me ask you, you brought up Westbrook. He had an issue with people calling him Westbrick when he was hitting the side of the baskets on some shots. Is that in play or out of play to you? Westbrick doesn't seem like that's so, a stretch or very condescending or nasty. It just is a creative way for talking about a guy who shoots bricks. Where are you on that?
Okay, so it's no different than someone complaining about being on Shaka food, right?
Right.
Right? It's a word play on your name.
And JaVale did complain about that.
Right,
Yeah,
he
no,
did. He was
JaVale-
mad.
Because to them it's a way of being taunted. And it's not like someone is coming up to Westbrook in the streets and calling him Westbrook.
Right.
Obviously, we know that's not going to end well for whoever did that, right? So it's not that. It's not that. But I think for him, it's more that because it's the last name and the kids were the last name, because I don't think he personally cares, but he probably heard his son say, "Someone called me Westbrook today." It happens.
How and some of this is what you're talking about, the adjustment from being a player to, when you're retired. How tough was it for you? I mean, you weren't just a player, you were a superstar player and well known. And then you guys are all young in real life when you're done playing. How tough was the adjustment for you? And how much do you really miss the game?
I've had time to miss the game, being injured, the media roller coaster back then. So when I was done, I was done. Once you're mentally done, the physical part goes with it, right? It's not the other way around. It's not, the physical then the mental. Once the mental goes, then the body follows suit. If you mentally think your body's hurting and you can't do it, it does. It does just that. So when it came to the media part, I remember having a conversation with Dwayne Wade when I was like, I want to do this, I don't want to do this. And he says, listen, you should do this. This is what you're good at. But do not go in it thinking you're Gilbert Arenas. You have to go in it from the beginning. You have to respect the craft like you did in basketball. So what I do all day is I sit on and watch all you guys, how you segue, talking points, like, how long you stay in one conversation, when you're really passionate about something, what is the key points you're talking to understand, because you guys have been here for a long time for a reason.
And that's the thing that I think we deal with as well. Like, I think, Gilbert, unless you really understand it now because you're doing it, but we didn't just fall off a turnips truck. Like we've, you know what I mean? Like we went, like we went to these colleges, and I went to grad school, and I worked at a small paper, and I worked my way up, and I worked in Cincinnati, and I worked in Detroit, and I worked in, do you know what I mean? Like, there's a whole process.
Yes, there's 20 plus years of, and that's where Dwayne was saying you have to understand what you're going up against. Like, these guys, they don't have the insight of game to game. Like, you're bringing something else, but they know how to relate a message. They know how to break it down. They know how to analyze it. And that they have 20 years. They went to school. They are the professionals.
Right.
They are the professionals in laying this out, so you have to study it.
And let me say this one last thing, Chris. Let me say this one last thing. I'm sorry. And I know, like, sometimes when you look at it, Chris and I worked on First Take and Undisputed, and we even did Cold Pizza. But it's such a like you guys making it to the NBA. For us in this business, for us to work at Fox Sports or ESPN, that's the top. That's like making it to the league. You know what I mean? Like, of that level. So in order to get there, sometimes I think people don't have that respect to understand what it takes to get to that level, to have a voice, to have a platform in front of millions of people.
And that was what you just said is one of the reasons that I didn't believe in kids being paid in college.
The NIL. So you don't agree with NIL?
Like before it was considered an NIL, right? Just the thought of paying kids in college, because I said the real advantage that we have as athletes is this over college kids. One, we have the benefits of being celebrities. When we leave that college, all those kids that came and watched us, if any of those get famous, I'm the first person that they'll probably give a job to. Two,
Right.
if after I'm playing with no degree, with no experience, but just being famous, I can get on TNT when a guy who's next to me had to get degrees to do this job.
Gilbert, we gotta pay some bills.
Yes,
We gotta break. But look,
we'll
man,
do it
this
again,
has been
man.
great.
We'll do it again.
We want to get you on, and we'll get you on for a longer segment, maybe top of an hour, because this has been fascinating, man. And we definitely will get into the '80s versus today too, because that's what we were going to talk about, right? But
you got my
good
number,
stuff.
yeah.
Right. Keep up the good work,
Thank
man,
you.
and we'll definitely get you on soon.
Okay.
All right, brother. That was the great Gilbert Arenas. It's the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. Keep it locked.